Hello and welcome to another episode of Hockey Talkie. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the firing of Coach Q, or most notably, Coach Q's mustache. Yeah, if you've been living under a rock, or you've been just straight up focused on the elections, the Chicago Blackhawks have fired longtime head coach, beloved head coach, Joel Quenneville. Now it's 8 p.m. right now as I'm shooting this video, which means that it's been 12 hours since this news broke this morning. News that not a lot of people wanted to hear to start their morning off. A type of news that really nobody expected to hear. But here we are. Now I do want to take a moment here to thank you for tuning in because, like I mentioned, it's been 12 hours since this news broke. So there's already been a lot of talk, a lot of things said, videos posted. There's just been a lot out there to consume, and for you to still watch this video to see what I have to say about this matter, I appreciate it. I can't say that enough. So without further ado, let's dig into this. Coach Q was hired by the Blackhawks to take over the head coaching duties from Dennis Savard, taking over a very young and talented up-and-coming group of players, a core consisting of Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Brent Seabrook, Duncan Keith, a core that just needed a little something to get over that hump. And that little something was a big old mustache in Joel Quenneville, and he would lead them to 3 Stanley Cups, the best era in franchise history, and quite frankly, the best decade that we'll probably ever see in franchise history. And that's a little sad because, well, we're never going to see the Blackhawks as successful as we did for these past 10 years. And I know it's a cliche, but seriously, it's tough to be mad or sad because it's over. You just kind of got to be happy that it happened, because right now there's 30 other teams essentially that wish they were firing right now a head coach that gave them 3 Stanley Cups. Now, I'm not saying that makes this the right or wrong move at this time, but it's just something to think about, to put it into perspective a little bit, because we have had it really darn good. So now Coach Q is going to be replaced by a man named Jeremy Colliton, a young man named Jeremy Colliton, head coach the past couple of years of the Blackhawks AHL team, the Rockford Ice Hogs. A guy who a lot of people believe was kind of being groomed to take over for Coach Q eventually. I just don't know how many people thought he'd be taking over 15 games into this season. Now remember, the Blackhawks started off pretty well. They started off 6-2-2. And so things were going well, and there might have been thoughts, well, if the Blackhawks just come out of the gate just absolutely awful, then yeah, maybe Coach Q, gets canned. But the Blackhawks started off pretty well, and then this 5-game stretch happened in Canada, and well, obviously upper management felt like it was time to make the move. Stan Bowman, McDonough, Rocky Wirtz, they figured, well, head coach is probably the easiest guy to move on from. And so, well, here we are. So Jeremy Colliton coming in as the 38th head coach in franchise history, also the youngest coach in the NHL, 33 years old, drafted the same year as Brent Seabrook, so that's going to be kind of interesting. I know that also makes a lot of people question what they're doing with their lives. But with that said, I'm actually really excited for Colliton to be the head coach of the Blackhawks. I just didn't think it would be this soon. It's going to be interesting to see how this team reacts, because honestly, this isn't a club that really anybody expected to be contenders. Maybe make the playoffs, maybe get a wild card spot. But other than that, he's not going to come in and help this team win a Stanley Cup this year. I think the big thing with him right now is that being in Rockford and being a winner in Rockford, he's interacted with a lot of the young players there, a lot of the young players that we have on the Blackhawks and the prospects that we have. So I think that's going to be really nice. I think that's going to be a positive from this. It's going to be interesting to see how the core, the older guys, the veterans, really respond to this. And right now, it's kind of tough to say for everyone, just because it's just been a weird day. It's been a whirlwind of a day. You don't really expect to hear this news this morning of a longtime head coach leaving all of a sudden or getting fired all of a sudden. It's going to take a while, and I think one of the things I really want to kind of give you to think about, and something I'm trying to use as well, is just there's going to be a lot of feelings, and I'm sure you've already kind of poured your heart out a little bit with this news, but I think the best course of action is just to kind of wait and see a little bit, or let the initial shock kind of wear off and see how some things play out, and kind of just see what happens a little bit, because news like this is just, it's not fun to deal with, and it really can play with your emotions and mental state. So that would be my advice. Don't get me wrong, though. I understand your frustrations, and frustrations are good to have. It means that you care. But Stan Bowman wasn't going to get fired before Coach Q. That's just not how it really works in sports. Coaches are much easier to fire and replace than it is for GMs. It's just how it is. It's just that this time we're firing the most successful coach in franchise history, the second winningest coach in NHL history, a first ballot Hall of Famer in Joel Quenneville. It just sucks, but is what it is. Stan Bowman, yeah, his deals, his moves haven't really worked out all that great, but he's not the only one to blame. Coach Q has his part in the reason why this team hasn't succeeded these past couple years. The players themselves haven't played all that great these last couple years. There's a lot of reasons why this team and this era of success has kind of come to a bit of an abrupt halt. We knew it was going to end. It always does. Every beginning has an end, Mr. Anderson, right? But it doesn't really remove the fact that it still sucks. So like I said, give this some time. You know, it's been a whirlwind of a day, 12 hours, 24 hours. You're going to be going through probably all 5 stages of grief. So just give it time. It sucks for sure, but you know what? Firing Coach Q means that we're also getting rid of Kevin Dunede and Ulf Samuelsson, so maybe our special teams units won't be bottom tier units anymore, so maybe we got that to look forward to. Who knows? But whether you like it or not, whether you agree with this move or not, it's happened, and at some point, eventually, we have to move on. And with that, I say thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this episode of Hockey Talkie. Let me know your thoughts on Coach Q's firing down in the comments section below. I appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.